Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership, Ambrosius Ruindridiarto. The pillaging of Indonesia's forests has been called one of the biggest environmental crimes in recent history. Rampant illegal logging wrought large-scale forest destruction, which has caused serious loss of biodiversity, displacement of indigenous populations, and increasing disasters like landslides and floods. Deforestation has also made Indonesia the third largest contributor to greenhouse gases in the world. A problem of such epic proportions demands the response of governments and international bodies. But the response can also begin with the actions of individuals. Ambrosius Ruindridiarto fell in love with nature early in life, growing up in his home village in Central Java, and then as a student in Bogor Agricultural University, indulging in his passion for forest trekking and mountaineering with 5 similarly inclined schoolmates. Bonding with forest dwellers, Rui and his friends organized Telepac, doing small projects in wildlife protection and village self-help. But things turned more serious when the group started to confront the issue of illegal logging. In 1999, partnering with a UK-based Environmental Investigation Agency, or EIA, which specializes in investigating environmental crimes, Telepac began undercover investigations of Indonesia's logging concessions. Tracking the timber trade from source to market, the Telepac EIA investigations uncovered the transnational operations of timber bosses, brokers, and smugglers in cases involving billions of dollars and trade in endangered hardwood species. It was dangerous work, as Rui would personally experience when he and an EIA representative were forcibly detained in the premises of a timber company and physically assaulted. They were able to escape only after local and foreign authorities intervened. This did not stop Telepac and EIA. Their exposés on illegal logging and smuggling sparked public indignation and heightened pressures on Indonesia and other governments to tighten controls on the timber industry. Telepac went on to participate in framing policies on forest management and timber legality verification, and was part of negotiations for an Indonesia-EU treaty on the containment of the illegal timber trade. Still, Rui and his Telepac co-founders have not only opposed and exposed, they also proposed principled yet practical solutions. They have promoted sustainable, community-based cooperative logging in more than 200,000 hectares, using an approach that does not only conserve forest wealth, but also benefits the local communities themselves. This approach has drawn from Rui's parallel work in 2 coastal villages in Bali, where destructive fishing methods were stopped through programs which combined marine conservation, coral reef restoration, and economic improvement. These villages have become the model for other fishing villages in community-based marine resource management. Telepac has now grown into a 247-member organization engaged in social forestry, marine conservation, and the promotion of indigenous peoples' rights. Its programs in community logging, cooperatives, social enterprises, and policy advocacy have had an impact on many of Indonesia's 33 provinces. This expansion owes in large part to Rui's leadership. Pragmatic, hands-on, and action-oriented, he has infused the organization with his zeal and optimism. Even in the dark days of the anti-logging campaign, he would insist, and we quote, "We are trying to find a hope, some light. We have to work hard to make it happen." End of quote. In electing Ambrosius Ruindriarto to receive the 2012 Ramon Magsaysay Award for Emergent Leadership, the Board of Trustees recognizes his sustained advocacy for community-based natural resource management in Indonesia, leading bold campaigns to stop illegal forest exploitation, as well as fresh social enterprise initiatives that engage local communities as their full partners. The 2012 awardees will now give their responses. Chen Shuju of Taiwan.
菲律宾总统麦格赛赛奖基金会理事、各位来宾、各位侨胞、各位大家好。
His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III, Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, distinguished guests, fellow awardees, and friends. It never once crossed my mind that I would one day be standing here accepting an award from your esteemed foundation. Similarly, I have never really given much thought to what we as individuals can do for the world. All I know is that people should work hard at what they do. I became a vegetable vendor at a market soon after leaving elementary school. So I've been selling vegetables for nearly 50 years now. I rarely take days off, and I have hardly ever had the chance to leave Taitung, not to mention go abroad. So my knowledge of the world is quite limited. And while I am good at selling vegetables, this doesn't qualify me to speak any great truths about the way the world works. I do know, though, that I am receiving this award today because of the donations I make. Yet, I have never considered myself a great person. I am just an ordinary person, a humble vegetable vendor. I simply do what I can to the best of my ability. There is nothing extraordinary about that. In fact, there are lots of well-known people who have donated far more than I have. I suppose, though, that being willing to help can make a difference, no matter how little we can give. And everyone has got something to offer. What makes the difference is whether or not you actually put that into action. I have always thought that making donations was my personal business, and I never intended to let people find out about this. Helping others gives me a sense of pure satisfaction and makes me feel extremely happy. Now, because of all the media attention, all sorts of people, including those I don't know, may greet me and sometimes offer me their kind encouragement when I am at the market or out and about. To be honest, I get quite embarrassed by it all, and sometimes I just don't really know what to say or how to respond. But this doesn't mean I am not grateful for their support, because I really am. Likewise, I would like to thank everyone at the foundation for presenting me with this award. I wish all of you the best of health and happiness. Thank you.
谢谢大家，谢谢各位侨胞，谢谢。
Romulo Davide of the Philippines.
Thank you. His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III, Trustees of the Ramon Magsaysay Award Foundation, distinguished guests, fellow awardees, and friends. It is indeed a distinct honor and pleasure for me to attend this ceremony to humbly accept this prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award. I share this honor with all the men and women, including my wife, Clara, who worked so hard with me in our programs to uplift the living conditions of our farmers, especially those in the upland communities who are still poor and hungry. May this be our footprints in the sands of time, and hope that the spirit and ideals of President Magsaysay guide and inspire us to continue this noble task with vigor and strength. Looking back to my family's humble beginnings, I could hardly believe that today I am here with you to receive this award. Working closely with my students and research assistants, I developed the Biocon for the biological control of nematode pests that attack the roots of many economic crops. For banana export alone, the cost of imported chemicals to control nematode damage on roots was estimated at 200 million pesos a year, while Biocon, now registered and patented as BioAct, can effectively control nematodes at much lower cost. BioAct, now manufactured in Germany with markets in Europe and other countries, is harmless to man and animals compared to highly toxic chemical nematicide. If STP was conceptualized to correct failures in government projects for countryside development, where trained farmers remain poor since they cannot adopt technologies introduced to them due to absence of funds. There is also a big gap between our R&D and extension activities. FSTP combines RD and E in one package to make farmers, both farmer scientists and extension workers. FSTP was started in Argao in 1994 when Cebu was considered among the poorest provinces. Since then, we have trained more than 30,000 Filipino farmers, and Argawanons are grateful that from a fifth-class town before FSTP, Argao has become a first-class town since 2006. FSTP is now being implemented as a national program starting in 2008 with the Department of Agriculture support funds. FSTP's nationwide coverage can now reach out to our poorest farmers. Thus, we have now Mangyan farmer scientists in the mountains of Mansalay, Oriental Mindoro, and the Bayan indigenous people in the mountains of Alabel, Sarangani province in Mindanao. As successfully demonstrated by FSTP, small farmers can be empowered with scientific farming knowledge to produce corn for food with a surplus for sale, along with production of vegetables, fruits, and livestock, increasing farmers' income by more than 100% and benefiting not only their families, but also their communities. We hope more government agencies, charitable companies, and friends will join us in making for farmers improve their living conditions and produce more food for all of us Filipinos. There are stumbling blocks along the way, but we must endeavor and learn to walk straight even on a crooked path. Truly, farmers are the heroes of our lands. Let us therefore recognize them with honor and dignity and support them to achieve their long-desired abundant productivity and live in peace and prosperity. Daghang salamat. Thank you.